Hello and welcome to qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We are ready for the first set of laps, and it's Pedro de la Rosa that has taken pole position at the moment on a 1:12.6. Ralf Schumacher, though, has blown that out of the water with a 12.3, but Yoong is now on an 11 dead. He's 1.299 seconds in front of the nearest person already. Track temperature's gone up by 4 degrees Celsius, I had noticed there. It's currently Yoong first, Schumacher second, who has improved his time, but so is Yoong. He's dipped to 1:10s. Fisichella is in third place in the Renault. Fourth is De La Rosa. Fifth is Bertie. Sixth finds Harold Frentzen in the Arrows. He's down to seventh because the two Ferraris have gone above him, Barrichello and Michael Schumacher. It is still Yoong on pole. Ralf Schumacher has done 9 laps so far. He's not improved his time in his last set of laps. Heinz Harold Frentzen is now down to 8th place because I don't know who's got above him. I think it's always been in 8th place, to be honest. Might be one of the Jaguars that went above him. I think Bertie was. Yoong has improved. Montoya is ventured a doubt for the first time and jumped himself into second place on a 1:11.1. Yoong is the only one in 10s. At the moment, the track temperature is currently at 29 degrees Celsius. As we wait for the rest of the drivers to make their lap times, Button's up into 6th place in the Jordan. 7th is Rubens Barrichello. There's 20 minutes left in the session. Yoong, lap 10, and he has not improved his lap time, but Montoya has. He's 9 thousandths away. Ralf Schumacher, hasn't improved his lap time. Montoya didn't improve his lap time there from his next set of laps. He's got 12 minutes to improve his time. Barrichello's gone out. Is he going to improve his lap time? He's improved, but he's not improved his position. All eyes are now on Juan Pablo Montoya. Is he going to take pole? He has taken pole position away from Alex Yoong at the death by 200ths of a second. So it is Juan Pablo Montoya on pole with Yoong in second place. There is your front row. As we look down the grid, we've got Alonso, Sato, Hill, Raikkonen, Mazzacane, Webber, Panis, Lazy, 11th through 18th. Then you've got Frentzen, Bertie, Schumacher, Barrichello in 7th. As we look on the track map, there's no McLaren today. They did not make it to the circuit, so we won't be seeing Verstappen or Coulthard. As that was a beautiful picture of the CNRS. This is the Interlagos circuit. It is going to be a 26 lap race as we are under starters orders. We are on board with Montoya and away they go. That looks like a fantastic start from Fisichella, but Ralf Schumacher looks like he's bogged down heavily as Montoya takes the lead. Fisichella has taken second place for a fantastic start. Yoong is under pressure against Johnson Button. There's a little touch there and Yoong is out of shape. Button manages to keep hold of 4th place from Ralf Schumacher. 6th place, De La Rosa. 7th, Schumacher. 8th is Frentzen. Good start for him, but Barrichello, a lazy. Mazzacane, Panis, Bertie with a horrible start. He's down into 14th. 15th, I think, actually, he's down to. Hill, Alonso and Sato bring up the rear of the grid, and that's Raikkonen already out, it seems, and so is Mark Webber. Both Saubers out at the start. Did they both stall? They did. They both stalled their engines and they're both out of the race already, which is rather unfortunate. So it's actually Bertie in 13th place. Is already down to 16 runners as Montoya already got a 1.5 second lead over Fisichella as we not even gone round the first lap. As Yoong has a little look down the inside of Fisichella. Is he going to take the lead going up the hill? He's not even going to take the lead. He's going to take second place. Fisichella's always seemed to do well round Brazil, but last time he didn't finish the race. As Yoong goes down the inside of Fisichella, it's a fantastic move from the Malaysian who won the last race. He is up into second place. Fisichella currently in 3rd place in the Renault. Button in 4th for Jordan. As they go down towards turn 4. Ralf Schumacher is in 5th place in the Arrows. Round turn 5 they go. Pedro de la Rosa in 6th place in the Jaguar. 7th place is Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari. 8th is Barrichello. 9th is Frentzen. 10th is a Lazy. 11th Mazzacane. 12th place is currently Olivier Panis. 13th place will be Bertie in the Jaguar. 14th is Damon Hill in the Jordan. 15th place is Sato, and 16th is Alonso in last place at the moment, but in first place is currently his teammate as he already begins to start lap 3. He is 2.3 seconds ahead of Alex Yoong in the Minardi already. Looks like it might be Juan Pablo Montoya's day. He looks like he's in a world of his own. There's another huge gap to Fisichella behind, and then Button has got a train behind him at the moment. We're on board with Young at the moment in the Minardi. One of the most improved teams so far in this Season 3. They were nowhere in Season 2. Obviously, they used their Season 2 time to develop the Season 3 car, especially with all the new regulations that had happened. There is a third place man, Giancarlo Fisichella. In the Renault, fourth place is Button. He's got Ralf Schumacher behind him, very close behind him in fact, as they go around the very complex second sector. It's a very difficult track to set up your car for, because you've got two very long straights at the end of the lap and after the center S, but then you've got this very technical sector 2 that you need downforce for, like all the way from Yucao to the first corner. It is completely flat, apart from Fisichella is not making a good deal of that as he pulls into the pits. It looks like he's going to be the third retirement, I'm sorry, as that was De La Rosa looking down the inside of Ralf Schumacher, and Fisichella nearly took Button out trying to go through those, and they lost loads of time as Button. 7 seconds is now the gap between second and third place. It looks like the top 2 are going to be the top 2. There is Button. We'll see a replay of what happened between Button and Fisichella. Fisichella is literally just slowed down going up the hill, and Button is slowing, trying to get past. It goes down the inside, and he just narrowly avoids being taken out by Fisichella. But that is your first retirement, Giancarlo Fisichella. Presumably a gearbox issue for the Italian. So again, it looks like he's not going to score points in Brazil, even though he looks very promising, especially after that start. But we are now back on board with Button in third place. He's holding up quite a few cars at the moment. Is the Jordan of Button, and you have Ralf Schumacher behind. There is Young. You can see visibly the gap, and that is the other Renault of Jean Alesi out of this race. So both Renaults have retired in the first 3 laps. It's a horrible race for them. We're now down to 14 cars already. We're not going to have any cars left by the end of this race by the looks of it. Bertie is now in 11th place in the Jaguar. 10th place is Olivier Panis in the BAR, with the other BAR of Mazzacane in 9th, the Argentine. 8th place Frentzen in the Arrows. 7th is Schumacher. We've got 6th placed Barrichello with De La Rosa in front. Ralf Schumacher still can't overtake Button. In 4th place by the looks of it. Is Barrichello going to dive bomb down the Spaniards? Nope, he is not. Round turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, long sweeping left-handed towards the back straight, down towards turn 4. Visibly that is the gap between, it's 10 seconds is the gap between second and third place. It's a humongous gap at the moment. Juan Pablo Montoya currently leads in the Toyota, with Alex Young in second place as they are coming up towards the end of the lap already. It's a very short lap, 1 minute 10 they were doing in qualifying, 70 seconds. This race is going to be over quite quickly because it's only 26 laps, as we're on board still with Montoya as he comes up the hill. It's completely flat out between Joncao and the Cenares as they start lap 6. Alex Young in the Minardi is in second place still. Let's go around the Cenares. Round turns 2 and turn 3. So again, long left-hander gear 4. The speedometer just keeps on climbing up to 300 km an hour, 3.5, 3.10. into gear 7, down towards gear 2 for turn 4. Pretty much a double apex. Turn 4, turn 5, you don't really straighten your wheel. Turn 6 is a very difficult off-cambered corner. It's an uncambered corner, but it's a very difficult corner to get right, and then it's a series of gear 1 corners. And you have a small throttle input down towards turn 9. It's another gear 1 corner, and that's pretty much the final braking, pretty much the final heavy braking point, and apart from junk cow, it's another gear 1 corner. But then you have a full 20 seconds, about, well, it's probably not even 20 seconds, about 10 seconds worth of throttle input down towards the center S. They're doing 1 minute 13s in the race at the moment, 1 minute 13.5 for Alex Yoong. The gap is 2.2 seconds between the top two, 13 seconds. It's now 14 seconds, the gap is just climbing and climbing as the race goes on. To give perspective, it's a 15.8 for Bunton. So it's a huge discrepancy between the second and third place. Looks like it's going to be between the top two for the Drivers' Championship, as we're on board with Ralf Schumacher in the Arrows. He finally got a decent result last race in 4th place for Ralf Schumacher, and we saw a change of position behind. It is Pedro de la Rosa taking 5th place away from Barrichello. So he's now where he started, is Pedro de la Rosa. Ralf Schumacher needs to gain one more position before he goes back where he started, but Button is currently in the way. I think de la Rosa actually started 4th, so he's not in the same position. But Ralf Schumacher is just not nowhere to overtake Button at the moment. As we have the classification result at the moment, Montoya leads with Yoong in 2nd place. They've just started lap 8. And then we have the long wait to Jensen Button in the Jordan. Around the final corner they both go. What is the gap? The gap is 18.3 seconds. Don't be careful, they're going to get lapped. Ralf Schumacher has a little look down the inside of Button, but nothing doing for the German. De La Rosa in front of Barrichello, as before mentioned. We didn't see the overtake, but he did overtake him. But Barrichello looks like he might be getting back at Pedro de la Rosa. Is he going to try the overtake? Turn 4, no, he's not close. He's not got the inside line, and he is still behind the Spaniard Season 1 champion. Couldn't get through in turns 2 either. That's not even turn 2, that's turn 6. Is he going to try through the Gears 1 complex? The answer is no. Looks like Pedro de la Rosa might actually be holding up the Brazilian a little bit at his home Grand Prix. Is, remember, Rumors Barrichello. Round turns 9 they go. And they are now on board with Michael Schumacher, the full-time champion, before everything got mixed up with the 2002 regulations. We're now in season 3 of the regulations. Up the hill, down towards the start-finish straight. There's not much straight going on this track. They've gone back on board with Barrichello in the Ferrari. Is he going to make the move? He's got the inside line, but could it make the move stick? And De La Rosa manages to get back in front. It's a fantastic battle for fifth place at the moment. Now is Barrichello going to make another move? He's got a better run at him, but he goes back behind. And he's going to keep hold of 5th place. As it looks like the Ferrari are going to get ready for a pit stop. It's going to be for, obviously going to be one of Barrichello or Michael Schumacher. Now down towards turn 7. There's Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari. Got on board for Eisenhower Frentzen. He's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. He's 3 seconds behind, and then he's got 11 seconds to Mazzacane and behind in the BARs. Bertie's still behind the BARs after his slow start. He's just not been able to make any headway at all in this race. Damon Hill in 12th place in the Jordan. He's nowhere pretty much. Sato 13th in the Minardi, 14th, and last currently is Alonso as we go on board with Barrichello. It is Barrichello that's diving into the pits. He's going to be the first scheduled stopper of the race. I don't think he's going to be able to put enough fuel in for the one stop, so it looks like he's going to two stop. It looks like the Jordan's also got him ready. It's a very long pit lane here in Brazil, down towards the Ferrari garage. And into the pits goes Barrichello, changing of 4 tyres. And what sort of stop is this going to be? It's going to be a 7.9, so it's definitely not fueled until the end. And off the pit lane, speed limiter, there they go. But it's a very awkward pit lane because they're going to dive out after turn 3, and Barrichello's behind Sato. So there he is in 12th place at the moment. Looks like there's going to be enough fuel for a 2-stop, and there goes Damon Hill in 14th place. He looks like he's going to get lapped already by Juan Pablo Montoya. Again, he's not got enough fuel in for a 2-stop, so he's going to 1-stop. Sorry, so he's going to 2-stop this race. There's Damon Hill in front of Alex Yoong. That's not going to please the Malaysian, who's trying to keep up with Montoya. The gap's already dropped to 3.8, 3.9, 4 seconds is the gap now. He's managed to overtake him around turn 6, but the Malaysian's not going to be happy because Juan Pablo Montoya is gone now, and I don't think he's going to be able to catch him. Button, 21 seconds is the gap now between the Jordan of Button and Alex Yoong. But on board with Montoya. Round turn 10, turn 11, Zhong Cao. It's a fantastic corner this. If you get this right, you then just put the hammer down and you just go up the straight with tremendous speed. Looks like De La Rosa hasn't got that much pressure anymore from Barrichello because Barrichello was pitted. So he's not got much pressure from Michael Schumacher yet. We're on board with Ralf Schumacher at the moment. Round turn 10, turn 11 of Zhong Cao is coming up. Round that corner goes Ralf Schumacher and down up the straight towards turn 1. We've got straight turn 13, which is not really a corner if not in the wet. There's Pedro de Rosa in 5th place in the Jaguar. Down towards turn 1. There you go. And around turn 1. Turn 2 comes up quickly. Quick change of direction. Turn 3 is a long left-hander. On board with De La Rosa still. As he's got a 2-second gap now to Michael Schumacher. He's going to get the overcut on Barrichello. Barrichello pitted pretty much at the wrong time because, especially with the long pit lane, I don't think the 2-stop will work at all. I'm still on board with Pedro de Rosa to go up to round turn 6, down towards turn 7, gear 1 corner here. And we're back on board with Michael Schumacher. The top 6 now separated by quite some distance because of the 2 leaders. Montoya, Yoong, a 3-second gap. Young's actually caught up by a second there. So unless Montoya got held up by Alonso, maybe, who knows. But Bertie still cannot get past Panis in the BAR. Bertie is currently in 10th place. Barrichello's occupying 11th, so he's managed to get away from Sato. And there's Button, Schumacher, De La Rosa and the other Schumacher, and there's another little bit of a gap towards Frentzen in the other arrows. There's Frentzen in the other arrows, 38 seconds behind the leader. Doesn't look like Arrows are going to win the championship this season. And there's a huge gap now again to Mazzacane. We're going to see quite a few lapped cars, I reckon, in this race. We're just about to reach halfway. Mazzacane's 55 seconds behind the race leader, 17 seconds behind Frentzen. This is how much it's hurting Bertie, because Bertie's so much quicker than the BARs, but it's just nowhere to overtake on this track. Back on board with the other Jaguar of De La Rosa. 4th place is Ralf Schumacher in the Arrows. 3rd is Button in the Jordan. And that is it, because Young has already started lap 14. He's already passed the halfway distance. Juan Pablo Montoya is first in the Toyota. Apart from Barrichello and Hill, no one else has stopped. So we presume that everyone else is on a one-stop strategy for this race. As we have cinematic views now of Button. Ralf Schumacher's only just been able to get past Sato. De La Rosa getting past Sato relatively quickly. Ralf Schumacher's now got to catch up back up to Button. Button found Sato in the right place there. Round turn 3 they go. Ralf Schumacher's 1.3 seconds now behind the Jordan. He's going to have to catch up again. De La Rosa's catching up slightly with Ralf Schumacher, but if qualifying goes the way it went, Ralf Schumacher has slightly more speed than Pedro de la Rosa. The two champions, Season 1 and Season 2 champion, back on board with Bertie as he still tries to overtake the BARs. He still cannot overtake them. Is this going to be the opportunity that the Brazilian has been waiting for at his own Grand Prix? Nope. Panis keeps hold of 9th place, and Bertie's got a little bit more to worry about because Barrichello is directly behind the Brazilian. Round turn 5 up towards turn 6. Oh, that's been an accident. Bertie and Panis has crashed into each other. They're both out on the spot. That's very unfortunate for Panis because he did absolutely nothing wrong. And that's Juan Pablo Montoya getting stuck behind the two cars as they were just parked on the apex. That is not good racing there from Bertie, taking people out yet again. The Jaguars are, and that has put a bit of breathing space now for Mazzacane because he's now in the middle of nowhere. He's got Passato up to 10th place, and we're now down to 12 runners. We're on board with Frentzen. Schumacher has pitted. He's got that much of a lead. He's managed to get in front of Mazzacane, mostly because Mazzacane has pitted for his one and only stop, we presume. Phil still going in for the Argentine. 11.1 seconds is the stop. Down the pit lane they go. It looks like the arrows are ready. There's a Toyota. I'm not sure which one of that of it is of Alonso. So Mazzacane is currently behind Alonso. He's in front of Hill, who has still got to make another pit stop this race. And there's Sato in 12th place, so he's already made his pit stop. And we're having a live instant replay of the Bertie Panis incident to see what happens. So Bertie goes for a gap that just was not there at all, and Panis was just the outsider. It would be interesting to see if we're getting on board with Panis to see what happened there. We're not going to see an on board of Panis, that's unfortunate. So we'll go back on board with Juan Pablo Montoya, who's only 2.1 seconds now in the lead of Alex Yoong. We're on lap 16 of 26, 10 laps to go. Pablo Montoya's already catching up to Michael Schumacher. Michael Schumacher's already made his pit stop, remember. Now is Juan Pablo Montoya going to get held up by Michael Schumacher? I'm not too sure. I mean, Michael Schumacher is going to be quite quick in this race. We're on lap 17 now. Alonso's going to... Yeah, it is Alonso. No, it's not even Alonso. It's Montoya. Alonso is in the back. Montoya we're on board with. Down towards turn 5. He's going... Turn 4, sorry. I've lost. I'm lost. He's going to hit Schumacher at the awkward opportunity there. He's going to let Yoong catch up. There is Yoong in the Minardi. Both the Toyota and the Minardi teams are getting ready. But I'm not sure if this is going to be for Alonso, Sato, or it's going to be for Montoya and Yoong. But Yoong has caught up dramatically because of Michael Schumacher being quite slow. Montoya going to seize the opportunity at Juncal to overtake. He's not. It might be a battle of the pit crew because it's going to be for Montoya. And Yoong is going to be Montoya versus Yoong. It's the battle of the pit crew. Young's going to turn left into the pit lane, and so is Montoya. Here we go. The gap, 2 tenths, pretty much nothing there. 2 tenths is the gap. Let's see what happens. Montoya will go in first. That's going to be the advantage because then Yoong is going to have to be held. The Jaguars are ready for their stop as well. Into the pit goes Yoong. What is going to happen here? We're in waiting. Montoya is away. Is Yoong going to be... Yoong's but it's been held up slightly, I think, as Yoong. The gap is 1.3. The gap to Ralf Schumacher is diminishing, but it's going to be Montoya leading with Yoong in second place. Is Yoong going to get out in front of Matt Carney? Yes, he is. Who's that in front of Montoya? I'm not too sure. I think it might be Alonso by the looks of the colour scheme in front. It is Alonso. Ralf Schumacher in third place there. Button has pitted and so has De La Rosa. So it's put breathing space on Schumacher. He's done the undercut, which will help him in the long run. There's Ralf Schumacher in third place. He's probably not seen the Toyota at all this race. There is De La Rosa, who's actually in front of Button. So Button has lost out terribly in this round of pit stops. Barrichello is 2 seconds behind. So De La Rosa is in front of Button, so that should put Ralf Schumacher in front of De La Rosa, especially if he does a very good in-lap. Will the German. There's Heinz old Frentzen, he's already made his pit stop. Alonso in 9th place. He's going to get lapped by Yoong for the second time this race, I believe. For Alonso. There is Matsukane. It's the first time because Alonso has not made his pit stop. Hill in 11th in the Jordan, and Sato is the last of the runners. There he is, just blocking De La Rosa there terribly. De La Rosa's finally got in front, and so has Button. Barrichello might get held up by Sato there. That will help Ralf Schumacher out, actually. So Ralf Schumacher might get third place. Actually, there is Ralf Schumacher. There's Ralf Schumacher going around turn 3 on the inside. Who's going to get her in front? Looks like it's going to be Ralf Schumacher very easily. So Ralf Schumacher is now on the podium. De La Rosa in 4th, Button in 5th. And Ralf Schumacher is probably going to be pulled away. But De La Rosa and Button's tyres are more heated up than Ralf Schumacher's. It's going to take a lap or two to heat up the Arrows' tyres. But we're still on board with Button. Maybe he'll have a look down the inside of De La Rosa. Michael Schumacher is 11 seconds now behind these. Looks like Barrichello made his pit stop at the same time as Ralf Schumacher. Down round turn 9 goes the Brit of Button. Down towards turn 11, Zhong Gao. It's a very difficult corner. Very fun corner when you get it right though. And up the hill, De La Rosa goes. There's Ralf Schumacher in 3rd place. He's probably going to keep that unless anything happens. It will be the first podium for the Arrows team this season. The Season 2 champions. There's Young, last race winner, Montoya. Already won 2 races this season, has Montoya. So he will extend his winning run. He'll extend his championship lead as well, will Montoya. He's the force to be reckoned with, especially in this new formula. Toyota prepared very, very well for this formula. But it looks like they're very concentrated on one car. And so has Minardi, because Toyota and Minardi fighting for the lead, but they're also fighting in last place at the moment. Because Alonso is quite far back, and so is Sato. Sato's already been lapped by quite a lot of the cars. He's probably going to be lapped twice by the end of this race. As we go back on board with Juan Pablo Montoya, we're on lap 21 of 26. I told you this race is going to go for like whizzing by. It's probably one of the shortest races apart from Monza, which we'll go to shortly. There's Barrichello. Alonso's going to lap a Ferrari again in the form of Barrichello. We saw how much trouble he had trying to lap Schumacher. There's Alonso coming out of the pits. He's going to get out in front of Ralf Schumacher. Don't know. I don't think he is, but... Oh, no he isn't. Alonso. Oh, yes. Alonso very well behaved there, obeying the orders of the blue flags to stay behind Ralf Schumacher, but he's going to cause trouble for De La Rosa and probably for Button. He's going to put a bit of breathing space to Ralf Schumacher there. There is Michael Schumacher in 6th place in the Ferrari, 7th place is Frentzen in the Arrows, so it's going to be a good haul of points for the Arrows team. 8th place Barrichello in the Ferrari. I think Arrows is actually going to score the most points this race. The first time that they've managed to score the most points. Alonso in 10th in the Toyota. 11th place is Hill. He has been lapped. Sato in 12th place is on lap 20. In the list of retirements, got Luciano Berti, who crashed with Olivier Panis, the instant party there. A lazy 15th in the Renault. Giancarlo Fisichella 16th in the Renault. 17th Raikkonen in the Sauber, and 18th is Weber in the Sauber. So it's a very bad day at the office for Renault and Sauber. Juan Pablo Montoya still leading like he did in the first lap. He has led from the start. He has led every single lap. He got pole. We're not going to know if he's going to get the fastest lap or not, but it could be a very glorious day for Juan Pablo Montoya. The gap between 2nd and 3rd place is a full 40 seconds, meaning that the standings are going to come up before we see the podium, before we see all the podium runners finish, because we're not going to see the standings in time otherwise. Juan Pablo Montoya now trying to lap Barrichello. Barrichello goes towards the inside, a bit naughty there, but Montoya has managed to get past quite easily. On board with Yoong, he's going to catch Barrichello at quite the awkward place. Now, if you've been concentrating on the race, you'll have noticed how far back Ralf Schumacher is. They're about to go to the very slow section. Ralf Schumacher is about to cross the finish line. That's how far ahead the top two are in the championship. It's very, very ridiculous how far in front they are. We're on board with Jenson Button, 46 seconds behind the race leader. Michael Schumacher is going to be 59 seconds, and Frentzen is a full minute behind. There is Barrichello being lapped by Yoong. Frenzen's going to be lapped by the top two no time soon. And there's Mazzacane, 9th place for Gaston Mazzacane. And 24 seconds is the gap between Mazzacane and Alonso, who is holding on to the 10th place, the last point, perilously from Hill. And Sato is in 12th place and last by 11 seconds, trundling along in the Minardi. Hill 2 stopped this race, I do believe, and he is just in 11th place, trying to get ahead of Alonso. Is this going to be the opportunity for Hill? Or is a little touch there from Hill, but they both survive, and Hill is going to get quite the good run. No, he isn't, or is he? He's still pretty much down the inside. Is he going to go down the inside of the Senna S, or is Alonso going to outbrake him? He'll outbrake, so Alonso is ahead of Alonso, so he's nicked the final point from the Toyota driver. Not going to be a double point finish for Toyota or Minardi. There's Yoong putting a lap on Frentzen, like I said that they would. Frentzen has been up to 7th place at the moment. Don't think they're going to lap anything anymore else, because there's 2 laps to go for the Colombian and the Malaysian, who have just absolutely trounced the field. There is Juan Pablo Montoya in the Toyota, leading by 1.6 seconds. It's been quite the boring race at the front for the 1st and 2nd place, but Young has kept Montoya on. It's one mistake for Montoya and it would have been curtains, as Young would have been able to get in front. There was a little scare for Montoya as he got held up by Michael Schumacher. Sato's about to get lapped for the 2nd time this race. Where is Montoya going to catch the Japanese driver? It's going to be up the straight, but it's a very easy overtake. Now is Sato going to be very nice to his teammates? The answer is yes, he is. We're on the final lap now of the Brazilian Grand Prix, the final 4-ish kilometre tour of this circuit. Ralf Schumacher in 2nd, 3rd. Ralf Schumacher's in 3rd, De La Rosa 4th, Button in 5th in the Jordan, 6th is Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari. 7th place is Frentzen in the Arrows. He's not going to finish the race. Barrichello's in 8th place. Ferrari. Ascane in 9th and Hill in 10th. We have Alonso in 11th place, and it's going to be Sato in 12th. He has been lapped twice as we go on board the chase cam of Montoya as we are going round turn 9, I believe. Going down towards turn 10, which is a flat out corner, and down towards Yoong for the 26th and final time. It has been a very, very controlled race by the Colombian, and Toyota is going to take his 3rd victory of the season to emanate the victories at Silverstone and Hungary. It is win number 3 for Juan Pablo Montoya as he wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Alex Yoong finishes in 2nd place, 1.5 seconds behind the Colombian. And now, sit back, relax, take a drink, have some popcorn, because we're going to have to wait at least 40 seconds for the next driver to finish. And it's going to be a first podium finish of the season for our Season 2 champion, who didn't have a very good first 3 races, but the 5th race has proved very lucky, as Ralf Schumacher will finish in 3rd place, 44 seconds in front, as De La Rosa finishes in 4th place. 5th place will be Button, and 6th place will be Michael Schumacher eventually. The rest of the finishers were Frentzen, Barrichello in 8th place. 9th place is Mazzacane. He scored 2 more points, and 10th place, the final finish of the points, is Damon Hill. The non-point scorers were Alonso and Sato, but there is your race winner. Interpark Ferme, Juan Pablo Montoya. He takes his 3rd win of the season, does the Colombian, since coming back from being released by Williams, who are no longer racing. Yoong finishes in 2nd place, 1.5 seconds, with Ralf Schumacher finishing in 3rd, rounding off the podium. 44 seconds was the gap. De La Rosa finishes in 4th for the Jaguar. 5th place was the Jordan of Button. He finished 47 seconds behind the race winner, if my memory serves me correct, which it does. It's a very, very controlled race. Juan Pablo Montoya also does the fastest lap with a 1:11.2. So he has got the Grand Chelem in this race. Ralf Schumacher, 13 dead was his fastest lap. That's how much he was struggling behind Button, whose fastest lap is a 1:13.4 in the end. Michael Schumacher finishes in 6th place. In fact, Button was 52 seconds behind. It was De La Rosa, it was 47 seconds behind. Frentzen finishes in 2nd place. He didn't finish the race on the lead lap, just like Barrichello. Same as Mazzacane. He didn't finish on the same lap. 16.3. There's a huge discrepancy going on at the moment. Hill in the Jordan finishes in 10th place. Alonso finishes in 11th. He looks 7th for points, but trundled in the end. And Sato finishes 2 laps down in the Minardi in 12th place. Berti is DNF after colliding with Panis. Panis is also out. The 2 Renaults out, and so is the Sauber. Thank you very much for watching the Brazilian Grand Prix. I hope you enjoyed the race as much as I did, and I shall see you next time.